Hi, everybody, and welcome to She Rises, another episode. And I'm so excited that you're here today and to welcome another amazing guest. And today we have on the show Kathryn Aragon. Kathryn is an award-winning marketer, 7-time author, and entrepreneur. She's a serial overcomer, which I'm excited to hear more about, and has been called an effing legend. She founded KA Media in 2005 and made it her mission to help businesses unlock growth with smart revenue-first marketing strategies. Kathryn is also the host of Amazon's very well-known Business and Growth Book Club, which she's going to tell you more about, and which I was chosen by her to be the book of the month, which is happening right now. So I really did appreciate that very much. So I'm now going to welcome Kathryn to the stage. And Kathryn, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful, wonderful. So thank you so much for being here. And I just want to start with, you've been an entrepreneur for a long time. I know you've been a writer 7 times, written, published books, which is incredible. Like, what was your reason or impetus to kind of start your own business, to be an entrepreneur? Were you always an entrepreneur? That was always your path? Or can you tell us like how it all began?
It's interesting that you ask, was I always an entrepreneur? Because I would never have said yes back before I started my business. But I think that seed was there. And I was inventing games. I was writing stories. I was always creating something. And what finally tipped me over the edge was when people would ask me, what do you do? And I would say, I'm a writer. And they said, what have you written? And of course, at that time, I hadn't written a book yet. And a novel was the only thing that was credible to most people who asked. And I was just ready to start making money, real money, at what I did. And so, trying to write fiction it's very difficult and it doesn't pay well. And I learned about copywriting and realized if that's how you can get paid as a writer, that's what I want to do. So I studied, I learned, I opened shop, and that was just the beginning.
Oh, okay. And so that has been really your career from the beginning? I mean, from the time like you went to university or high school or so, writing was your method?
Writing was my first passion. And I'm a little funny in that it doesn't matter what I'm doing. The more I learn about it, the more passionate I become about it. And so it started with writing. And I began as a copywriter and then realized that content marketing was a little bit of a better fit for the way I think and the way I write. And then I realized, for me to be effective as a content writer, I need to understand marketing better. So I consider myself more of a marketer now than I do as a writer. But writing is where it started.
And so did you go from writing and being paid as a copywriter to then writing books and publishing your own books and then to becoming a marketer, or how did that go?
It all just kind of evolved. Actually, in 2005, I did start my business as a copywriter, but I was so green. I really did not understand marketing and business well enough to be able to treat it like a business. And I didn't know where to find clients. So I used the materials that I had created to market myself. I just, again, didn't know how to find people to give them to. And those got me a job in a physical building as a copywriter. And I was hired right off the bat as a senior copywriter. But there I did everything. I worked with retirement. I worked in insurance. I worked in property and what is it? I can't remember. But several different departments. And I wrote web copy, articles, sales pages, emails, you name it. I wrote it for them. And that gave me the portfolio I needed to, when I left there, kick off my business again. And so all through that, I was learning marketing. I actually got a graduate certificate in marketing while I was at that job. So everything was it was layers of learning. Just what's the next step? What do I need to know to do this project? And little by little, I grew my knowledge base and my experience.
So did the 7 books happen during that time, or did it happen once you started your business?
Well, there's a little bit of a backstory to the books.
Yes.
And part of it is 12 years ago in 2011, I had a spinal cord injury. And it left me bedbound for 3 years and housebound for bedbound for 4 years, housebound for another 3 years. And just 5 months ago, I had the surgery that finally stabilized my spine to where I can actually get out of the house and do things. So this has been an arduous journey. And when it started, I was doing whatever research I could to understand it. And what my takeaway was, I may not live a full life. And at that stage, I hadn't written my books yet. And that was my goal. That was my childhood dream. That was on my bucket list. And in my opinion, it was like, yes, I'm taking care of my clients, but I need to take care of me too. I need to take care of these dreams that I've had from the time I was little. And that's when I decided to prioritize my book.
Wow.
And I wrote the business blog handbook, which was, my everything I knew at the moment at that time of what I was doing. And it was also to promote my business and add credibility, but it was a very practical way to get that first book out. And then after I wrote that one, it was I did a few other fun things. And I've written books for clients, so I count those in my list.
Well, listen, you had a massive challenge to your life, didn't
Yes.
you? Like really massive challenge that you say that you were bedbound for 3 years, I think you said.
4
And
years, actually.
4, and then housebound for another.
3.
So, I mean, kudos to you, really, Kathryn, that you kept going and kept a business going, and then realized, oh my God, I better do what's right for me, and write books, which is what your passion was and your love is. And thank goodness that was something you could continue to do, right?
Exactly.
You could have gone the other way, of course. You could have gone into pity, which I'm sure you had moments of, but I'm sure you could have also gone in the direction of giving up and not really doing very much either. So, yeah,
not really who I am.
No, clearly is not who you are. So instead, you ended up writing 7 books, and were they all business books, like helping other business books or marketing books?
Most of them are marketing and business related. Yes.
Okay. All right. Because that was something you began to learn more and more through your copywriting?
When I got into copywriting is when I understood that copywriting is a branch of marketing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I segued into content marketing, and I actually ran some industry-leading blogs over the years. So I began to see how what I did, my skill set, fits into marketing. And the truth is, marketing can't happen without communications. So understanding how it all fits together and how to be more strategic doing it. And then I'm a natural strategist, and I'm always thinking in terms of how does this affect the outcome? What's the data behind this? And the more I got into that side of things, the more I enjoyed it. And once I wrote my book, it was like I could check that off my to-do list, and I didn't need to do it anymore. And now my passion really is marketing strategy.
So can you give some tips on that, please? Because honestly, that has never been my strength, is marketing. And it's just something I don't know. I just don't think I'm particularly great at that. So can you explain more, or give examples of how you used it and what you do and what that even means exactly?
What marketing means?
Well, everyone knows what marketing means in general.
Right.
Basically, it's a way of getting yourself out there, whatever it is, your person or your
Yes.
product or whatever. But like, what are strategies? You said that you looked at the data, things like that. What do you do, or how do you help your
Okay.
clients really uh, become become more visible, which is really what it's all about. And what did you learn? Like, what's the secret behind it? I guess that's what I'm
Okay.
asking. Yeah.
Well, let me break it down first. Marketing really, the simplest way to approach it is 3 steps, and I call it an ARC, ARC. You need awareness, you need to build relationships so people know, like, and trust you, and then you need to drive conversions or sales. Now,
Hmm.
conversions are interesting because there are micro conversions that lead up to the actual sale. So conversion just means I get them to take an action that leads to the next step. So if you think of your customers as being on a journey with you, they don't know you at all. And then suddenly they see something that makes them aware of you. That's that awareness. And you've got to come up, your strategy has to include elements that will help people find you. Then once they've found you, you need some activities that help them to get to know you and feel like they're developing a relationship with you. And then you need to develop strategies and campaigns that actually convert them and get them to purchase. So that's really all it is. If you can sit down with a piece of paper and just brainstorm activities that you can or campaigns that you can develop that will build awareness, relationship, and conversions, then you have a good marketing plan.
Can you give an example?
Let's see. Let's say that you are trying to get subscribers
Hmm.
who are a good target, they're qualified to purchase a course that you've developed.
Okay, like like an email list. Is that what you mean by
Yes,
subscribers? Okay.
right. So whatever that course is that I'm trying to sell, I need to create a lead magnet. And what a lead magnet is just a little freebie, a gift that you give that would only really be appealing to people who would also be interested in your course. Many times you'll take a resource out of the course or just maybe you'll create a little short ebook or guide that you can give away. And so you advertise for that or you talk about it in social media and you promote that freebie. That gets people to your landing page, and there they sign up to get it. Now they're on your list, and you can start sending them emails that get them more interested in the actual product. You now this freebie could be something that you can mail. It could also be a demo. It could also be just a strategy call. So there are lots of different things you can give away, but the idea is to give away something that's high value, excuse me, and get them to engage with you. Once you can get a conversation with them, you can usually make the sale or get them to a piece that just it pushes all of their buttons, overcomes all of their objections, and gives them a chance to buy.
And can you start this with no email list?
You
Suppose you
can
have,
actually.
you
Yeah,
can.
you can build your email list doing this, but you don't even if let's say you have no other resource, no marketing tools at all, you can do it. Go to social media, start talking about this freebie you're going to give away. Ask
Mhm.
people to respond to you directly. So to DM me if you're interested.
Okay. Oh, I
Now
see.
you can do it on LinkedIn, let's say. And
Mhm.
there you just start talking back and forth. You give them the freebie, ask them would they like to chat about it, or maybe you wait a week, follow
Mhm.
up with them then. So the strategy is all about, okay, I've got this map of the steps I'm going to go through on this journey with this person. But what's the timing? How am I going to engage with them? What am I going to say? All of that goes into your strategy.
So, okay, you used LinkedIn as an example. That could be one
Mhm.
place people can go. I guess Facebook, Instagram, or other places
Yes,
people can go as well. So, how would you, I mean, in Facebook, I guess you would do it to your friends, right? And
yes,
Instagram, you would do
yeah.
it to whoever your followers were too. But suppose I'm kind of grilling you here,
Mhm.
but what happens when, oops, we just lost our connection.
Uh-oh.
We're good now. We're good. We're good. What happens when you post something in social media and nobody's really responding to it? So you just keep going,
You
or
must keep
yeah,
going. Yes.
you,
Most people think
mhm,
about how asynchronous social media is. Most people will never see one post that you put out there.
yeah,
So a campaign is about, I'm going to blast people with this and I'm going to talk about it for about a month.
okay.
Maybe you start talking about it 2 weeks before you even come out with your freebie.
Mm.
Then you have your freebie offer, and then you keep talking about it. You keep offering it, and maybe you wait a month and offer it again. So you can turn off and on any campaign you've built. And
Mhm.
you can, maybe you have 6 campaigns built, and every month you pull another one up and do it again. You can keep talking about the same topics because your audience won't get as tired of it as you will.
And when you say campaigns, you mean different lead magnets that you're giving
Yeah.
them? Is that what
Yeah.
you mean?
And so you may have a bunch of different types of campaigns. And
Yeah.
then you may also just have stuff you talk about to create interest and establish your authority. And you just rotate around them. And you have a few talking points that you push them all the time. That's going to help establish you and help people know you for what you do.
Have you worked mostly with service-based people? Because I'm just wondering, is there a platform, LinkedIn or whatever, other social, that's better for service-based providers, coaches, whatever, consultants, or a better one for product-based? Or
Mm.
what's your opinion on that?
That's a really good question because yes, there are different platforms for different things. If you are e-tail, you sell physical products,
Mhm.
especially to consumers, to just everyday people. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they're your go-to. If you're wanting to sell, let's say you have a service business and you're going to be selling to other businesses, you want to be on LinkedIn for sure. And so it just depends on what you're selling and where your target market is hanging out online. You just want to get in front of them.
Yeah, that's a really big point that I've heard often.
Mhm.
Is get where your people are, and start with one platform rather than
Yeah.
trying to do all of them. Yeah, great. Those were wonderful tips. So the book club. Let's talk about the book club. So as I said at the beginning, Kathryn is the host of Amazon's book club that's called the Business and Growth Book Club,
Mhm.
which I just got chosen for, and it really did help my sales and bumped me up to number 2 in best selling. So thank you very much. That was great.
Yes.
So how did this start? Like, where did the title come from? How did you get to be chosen to be the host? Why are you doing this? And just tell us more about the book club and how people can learn about it.
Back in, I think it was 2020, I got an email. Well, I had just put together a course on writing an authority book, and it was a bad launch and didn't work very well. Part of it is probably because I was creating it when I was still mostly in bed, and it was very difficult for me to do good videos, and just building the whole thing was difficult. But as a result, I was really focused on authority and books as the piece of content you should be creating. And around that time, Amazon emailed me and said, "We're launching a beta. It's a book club. We want you to start one."
Wow.
And I put it off for a couple of months and then they kept sending me emails. And finally, I decided, this is a good idea. I should do this. So I signed up, set it up. Business and growth was it was something I pulled out of the air. I was trying to land on a category that would still work with my business. And I'm all in on growth, business growth. So I decided that if I called it Business and Growth Book Club, it would cover all the books I might want to read.
Mm.
And so that was kind of it. One of the things that I've done to grow my own business is to read a book every month. And most of my career, I have done that. So the book club just helps me take it more public. And early on, it was just that. I just, at whatever schedule I was reading, I just would update the book to match what I was reading. But one day I got on there and I realized I had thousands and thousands of people in the book club. And it was like, oh man, I should do something with this.
Right, right.
Right
Yes.
now, I am just under 28,000 people in there. And it's so amazing that there are that many people interested in reading along with me. And that's really what it is. It's the opportunity to read some really great books like yours and learn and expand simply by reading. I call it self-coaching, and it works.
It does work. I love that, and I love that you read a book a month, which is absolutely wonderful, and it's definitely people don't read enough is my
That's true.
experience and what we're seeing. But you have 28,000 people in the book club, which is so cool. So there's definitely at least 28,000 people really hungry for good books.
Mhm.
So how do you pick the book? Like, how do you have like a whole list and you're like a spreadsheet and you're choosing them, or how are you doing that?
I did finally create a spreadsheet to help me plan,
Hmm.
but there are publishing companies and PR companies that email me, or sometimes they just send me books. So now most of the books that are in the book club are newer books. They're usually about a year old because there are more books on the floor in my room here than there are months in the year. So
Wow.
so
Mhm.
so I have to go through and vet the books, and many times I just put them on and I read them with my readers. Now I'm trying to be ahead of the game, and I actually read the book and vet the value before I put it on the book club. And I'm part of it. I want to benefit the author. So as you know, I haven't written the I've got your book right here, by the way. Um, I haven't written the
Review.
review of it yet. Thank you. Lost that word. But that will probably be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And then it's just a matter of, engaging with the author, letting you know how you can help me promote your book. And with your help, we got you to number 2,
You
which
did.
is amazing. Yeah, I would love. So far, I've gotten 2 authors to number 2, and the authors who don't get involved, they don't do as well, sadly. But when we treat it like a partnership, we can really push your sales up.
Yeah, that's how we did it, because you
Mhm,
you created a really great PDF for me to follow, like, but,
mhm.
and you have even created copy for me to use for my newsletter, for social media. You gave me graphics. So I was able to promote you as well in the book
Mhm.
club as well, and somehow it worked. And yeah, and book sales jumped as well. Reviews jumped. So it made a huge difference. Like, can you do it again?
Yeah. And that's the cool
I
thing, if you were to
yeah,
write another book,
yeah,
that was appropriate for the book club.
of course.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think it's a great thing for our readers to get to see multiple books from one author.
yeah. And there's so many. I mean, this is one thing I've really noticed in since I became an author, which I have never been one before, even though I was considered myself a little bit of a writer, is how many fabulous books are out there,
Oh,
and
so
this
many.
this like this yearning that authors have for their book to be seen and read and acknowledged and all of that, and how difficult it is to get
Yeah.
that acknowledgement, right, to be seen.
Mhm.
It takes because as an author, when I was writing my book, it was such a intimate personal experience that I didn't really share with anybody. It was completely my own experience. And yet, if you want to be an author instead of a writer, you have to become extremely visible. And so I also want to ask you about that. Writers often are not necessarily comfortable being extremely visible.
Yeah.
So you seem to have been able to make yourself visible as well, or is it something that's been difficult for you? Because that's also one of my questions for She Rises. Is visibility an issue for you, or has it been a issue for you? And what I mean by visibility is I mean literally being seen physically on
Okay.
video, or or in just posts, just really putting yourself out there. A lot of women, myself, felt that I wanted to be more visible because I felt I had something to say, but I had nowhere to share it, so to
Right.
speak, which is one reason for She Rises. So, what was your experience like with visibility?
I am your typical writer. When especially in those early days, what I loved about writing is I didn't have to talk to anybody. I could say everything on paper and then other people could read it in their own time. And I love that process. So my early days, I did a ton of blogging and I just used social media to promote what I was writing on my website. And over the years, I have seen things change. So I've had to really push myself to shift with the times. Now people don't read blog posts like they did 15 years ago. Now they really want to see you on social media. They want to see you. And
Mm,
remember, I was in bed
wow.
for a lot of these years. And when video was becoming a big thing, if you go to my early YouTube channel, you'll see I tried. I got a camera, but I had a spinal cord injury. Just sitting on the edge of the bed was more than I could do for 2 minutes. And so I had to let a lot of this stuff pass me by, stayed in the background, not very visible. And my goal for this year is to push myself a little further because this is hard for me. I'm comfortable in a chat, in an interview like this. I feel like there's purpose to it. I struggle a lot with social media.
Yeah.
I think it really feels vulnerable to me. And so that's my challenge to myself is to start, how can I think of this like my blog? How, or find it's little mind games. How can I think of this in a different way where it's more comfortable to me?
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's something so many women in particular completely relate to. Like, how can I make it more comfortable? And the way I personally made it more comfortable was by doing this live stream show, because to me this is fun, having a
Yeah.
conversation instead of me coming up with ideas and content of just single videos that I'm going to do just for myself. So
Right.
right, we have to come up with ways that are fun for us and make us
Right.
feel good. And this is the most important thing. If it's
Mhm.
has to feel good. It has to feel fun. It could feel scary. It could feel you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, but it should also feel like good as well.
I
Otherwise,
100% agree with that.
yeah,
'Cause I
that
could have a private conversation with
yeah,
you and feel so great about that, and afterwards, I'm like, "Oh, we helped one another. Wasn't that a great conversation?"
yeah,
But to do it publicly, that's a different level, and it takes a lot of courage.
it does. It does. And here we are live being
That's right.
courageous right now,
We're
which is
doing it
fantastic.
anyway.
We're doing it anyway. So, with the book club, for people listening, how can they find it? Like, how do they go to Amazon.com, or how do they find the Business
Well,
and Growth Book Club?
if you go to Amazon.com/Amazon Book Clubs, then you will find it. And I'm probably the biggest business book club, and I'm probably near the top, but you can search for Business and Growth Book Club, and you'll
Mhm.
probably find it.
And once you join it, then you're kind of on an email list, or how are you notified about the
Now,
books?
you are on Amazon's list at this point. You won't really hear from me. So when I
Okay.
change the book, you will get an alert from Amazon saying, well, there's a new book and here's the link to buy it. So they make it really easy for you and really for me too. But I also created a page on my website where you can learn more and you can start engaging with me personally. And that's kathrynaragon.com/book-club. And you'll see, if you go to my website, up in the navigation bar, you'll see book club and you can get to it there as well.
Okay, that's great.
Yes.
So we're just going to wrap up now, Kathryn. Is there anything you want to share with the audience, like anything coming up or programs or anything else you want to say about marketing or books or anything else?
I do have a program coming up. It's in the works. It's a coaching program for SaaS companies that are really ready to drive growth. So I'm really excited about that. And so I'm doing a lot of reading and studying on much more meaty topics, growth oriented topics. And so you'll probably see that coming through the book club a little bit too.
Okay, that's great. We'll look forward to that.
Yeah,
So thank you so much, Kathryn. It was great to hear your marketing ideas, your book club. Congratulations on being chosen for it.
thank you.
Congratulations on all your success that you have done. And we will see each other very soon, matter of
That's
fact.
right. Okay.
Thank you, Kathryn. I'm going to put you backstage now. So thank you everybody for being on She Rises again and listening in. If you are interested in coming on She Rises, then you can see the ticker at the bottom, lesliekuster.com. Leslie@lesliekuster.com is my email. So if you're a woman entrepreneur, if you're looking for a place to share what you do, what your product is, what your services are, contact me and I would love to have you on the show. And I will see you next time on She Rises. Thank you, everybody.